Welcome to Mindful Chatting, a podcast where therapy meets real life. I'm Kristen, a therapist, business owner, and a lifelong student of what it means to fully show up in our relationships, in our work, and in our healing. Here, we unpack mental health concepts, explore mindfulness tools, and talk through the messy, beautiful, in-between moments that shape us. Whether you're a fellow clinician, a curious listener, or someone navigating your own growth, this space is for you. Let's chat. Hey friend, welcome back to Mindful Chatting. Before we jump in today, I want you to do something with me. Let's take a breath, unclench that jaw, and let's drop those shoulders. If you're listening to this while avoiding something you know you should be doing, trust me, we've all been there. You're exactly where you need to be today. Because today we're talking about task initiation, that frustrating, invisible wall between knowing what to do and then actually starting it. Because if you've ever thought, I understand my ADHD, I've planned the thing, I know exactly what needs to be done, so why can't I just start it? This episode is for you. I think one of the biggest misunderstandings about ADHD is that difficulty starting means a lack of motivation. And to be honest, it doesn't. Task initiation is an executive function skill, not a personality trait. Motivation is desire, where task initiation is activation. And in ADHD brains, the neural circuits responsible for initiating those actions, especially when a task is boring, emotionally loaded, or just non-urgent, are underpowered. And that's not laziness, that's neurology. Research consistently shows that ADHD brains struggle with dopamine-mediated activation, especially for tasks that don't provide that immediate feedback or novelty or that emotional reward that we're seeing. So when someone says just start, what they're really saying is use brain systems that isn't firing properly right now. That advice fails. And not because you're resistant, but because it ignores how your brain actually works. So let's talk about this freeze response that happens. That moment where you're sitting on the couch or staring at your screen or pacing your house or fully aware of what needs to be done and yet nothing happens. This freeze is often misinterpreted as procrastination, but clinically it's closer to a stress response. When a task feels overwhelming or unclear or emotionally risky or even tied to shame, like I should have done this already, the nervous system reads it as a threat, not a to-do. And when the brain detects threat, executive functioning drops. You don't initiate action from safety being compromised. You initiate it from regulation, which is why trying to push harder often makes the freeze response worse. And here's the part that most people miss. Task initiation isn't just cognitive, it's emotional. ADHD brains often attach emotions to tasks, either that fear of failure, fear of doing it wrong, fear of taking it too long, fear of not finishing it all. Those emotions activate avoidance pathways. So the brain says, let's not start until we feel more ready. Except readiness doesn't come before action in ADHD brains. It comes after the momentum begins. And this is why waiting to feel motivated is actually a trap. If you're working on staying present and grounded, which me too, we all need, especially when your brain wants to spiral into what we call disconnection. Yeah, it's Brain FM. It's musically designed to help ADHD brains, well, really any brain, to focus, relax, sleep, and I use it almost daily. If you want to try it, I've dropped my link in the show notes. And if you're looking for planning tools and ADHD resources, they're in there too. So the advice of just start assumes that initiation is a choice, that effort equals action, and that discipline overrides neurology. But ADHD research tells us the complete opposite. Starting requires external cues, lowered emotional states, novelty or stimulation, or even co-regulation. This is why strategies like body doubling, timers, changing your environment, or starting absurdly small actually work for you. They bypass the initiation barrier instead of fighting it. You're not broken for needing momentum before motivation. That's actually how your brain is wired. If you're nodding along and thinking, yep, this is totally me, I want you to stop and take a free quiz. I have made a quiz about what's your ADHD struggle, and it'll only take a couple of minutes. And at the end, there's a secret freebie waiting for you that will help you start working on your struggle right away. Look in the show notes for the link. So here's what actually helps clinically and practically. We need to lower the bar. You need to start with something so small that it feels almost silly. Like if you have a paper to write, just open the Word document. Or if you have laundry to do, maybe just pile it all together. Or maybe just pile all together the stuff in the room. Or if you have to clean the kitchen, maybe just take all the cleaning supplies out. You just need to start small because then that builds the momentum that you need. And then the task feels so silly that you want to do the next task because it just makes sense. We also need to change the state, not the task. You need to move your body. You need to change rooms. You need to adjust your sensory input. You need to tell your nervous system that you're regulated. Or maybe you need to regulate your nervous system before you even start the most absurdly small task. And that may be stretching for a little bit. That may be walking around your house. That may be taking some sensory candles and lighting them and just sitting there for a second before you start. These are all sensory things to tell your nervous system that you're okay. Let's externalize the start. So I know timers have been used and said a lot, but sometimes we need a timer that tells us when something's going to end. Because again, if our nervous system thinks that this is going to be a forever state, it won't even want to start it. But if I go, hey, I only have to clean the kitchen for 5 minutes, that seems way doable than cleaning the kitchen until it's clean. And guess what? 5 minutes of cleaning the kitchen is way better than not cleaning the kitchen at all. So we have to think about timers that are external that we can see. And I cannot stress the importance of using timers that count down instead of timers that count up. We also need to think about accountability. So sometimes that could be writing a list and crossing it off. You're showing everybody, even you, that this is something that you have to hold yourself accountable for. So maybe you write it down on a whiteboard, or maybe you write it down on your to-do list. Anything that holds you accountable that I'm going to do this today, even if it's the small, silly start. Body doubling. Body doubling means having someone in the room, even though they could be doing something completely different than you. And what you're doing is you're regulating your nervous system off of the vibe that they're creating in the room. Because if they look productive and busy, well, doesn't that make us want to be productive and busy too? Cues. Cues could be visual cues, like that to-do list could be written down on a whiteboard that's right in front of your face. A cue could also be, if I want to start a new habit or a new thing that I want to do, I'm going to put it by the thing I already do. So if I want to start journaling more often, or I need to clean the kitchen, I'm going to put my journal or the cleaning supplies by the coffee pot. I need to remind myself of what's expected of me. Lastly, I need to remove moral language. You're not failing to start. Your nervous system needs support, and this is a way of doing it. Task initiation improves when we design with the brain, not against it. If you're listening to this and thinking, this is exactly what I struggle with, I want you to know that I built something specifically for you. The EF, or Executive Functioning Activation course, walks you through why task initiation feels so hard with your ADHD and how to actually get yourself moving without shame, pressure, or burnout. It's short, practical, and designed for ADHD brains, not productivity culture. If starting is your biggest barrier, this course gives you structure, language, and tools that actually work for you. You'll find the link in the show notes. If there's one thing I want you to take away from today, it's this. You don't need more discipline. You need better support for your executive functioning. And if task initiation has been your lifelong struggle, you're not alone and you're not failing. You're learning how to work with your brain for the first time. Next week, we're talking about time blindness and why caring deeply still doesn't make you on time. Until then, I want you to be gentle with your mind.